Hi, welcome back. The fundamental topic for today is guards. Now, what is a guard? I'm not talking about one of the dudes in the fluffy hat standing outside Buckingham Palace. I'm talking about the way in which we stand to defend ourselves in any given situation. Now, in Kung Fu, or Jiaoga Kung Fu, especially at Head Academy Kung Fu, we're super focused on guards, and the reason for that is guards are the positions that our techniques and self-defense begin from. So, a guard includes stance and hands. And our hands and stances dictate the techniques that are going to follow on from those particular guards. Now, that's going to make more sense as you learn more Kung Fu, but for now, what I want you to understand about Kung Fu is this, and that is, in self-defense, you're not always going to be confronted by someone from the front. You could be confronted or attacked from the side, from behind, from left, from right, or the front. So it's important that your movement capabilities and your movement patterning allows you to react and to defend yourself in all of the directions that danger may come from. Now, if you're used to a certain sort of fighting where all of your attention and focus is on techniques and movement in a linear fashion, then when your training or your self-defense moves outside of that linear training, what's going to happen? You're going to freeze, and you're not going to have the stability in the base to be able to move into different positions depending on where that attack or that danger comes from. And that's a really important thing to understand, is that if you get attacked from the side and you don't know and you haven't taught yourself or learned how to move to protect yourself in that instant from a different direction, then what's going to happen is you'll probably end up on the ground, or you'll end up getting hurt very, very quickly. So the other thing that I want you to understand about guards for now is that how we hold our hands and the direction in which we stand is really important as well. So when I hold my hands open like this, I'm leaving a hole here, which allows the person who's coming at me to come up the center line, which may be what I want. Okay, now the technique that I might want to use in a self-defense situation might dictate that I'm going to parry in and do a tiger claw over there. So I want their technique to come up here. But I might want to use a different technique, and I might want to cover my center and make them go underneath or around. So where I hold my hands is basically subconsciously leading the other person, or the person who's attacking me, into holes that I already know I'm going to fill with the self-defense techniques that I have at my disposal. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't for now, it should as we move forward. So anytime you do a technique or hold your hands in a position, you're leaving a hole somewhere. Okay? So with our guards, we're specifically leaving holes consciously that we know that our techniques are going to fill and cover. Okay? The next thing that I want you to understand today is, because we're going to move into that section, this section of the form, is I can work from horse stance. I can work in front of me, I can do techniques here, or I can work here, or I can work here. In the first sentence of the body of the form today, we're going to be working to our side. Now, just because my front, my chest is facing this way, doesn't mean that I'm working or defending myself that way. I'm working where my hands and face are looking. So where my face and eyes are looking, where my hand is, that's the direction that I'm working. Now, an important part, again, of this, say you're a smaller person than the person you're defending yourself against, okay? This is super important, listen carefully. So when I stand front on, my arm reach is from here to here. Against someone who's bigger, they might have a greater reach than me, okay? When I turn side on, my head is now half my shoulder width, this width here, away from where it was before. Watch this. So I turn this way, my head's now in the same length, same distance away as my shoulders. Now when I turn side on, my head is back this much from my shoulder. So I basically added this much reach onto my hand or arm. So that if I'm fighting someone who's bigger than me, this is a better position to be in because it allows me to have more reach. Now you can practice this with a partner. You can just stand front onto each other and see who has the longer reach. Then you turn side on and notice when you're in your horse that you have extra reach. Now you can hit them and they probably can't hit you. Or if they had longer reach than you, now you can both get each other at the same time. That's super important to understand for anybody who find themselves in a self-defense situation against someone who's bigger and stronger. There are certain positions that you'll only learn in Kung Fu, from Head Academy Kung Fu and from me, which are going to teach you how to defend yourself using not strength, not power, but finesse, technique, and structure. And that's really important because if we rely on strength and power for our self-defense, that it means we're only going to beat people who are weaker or smaller than us. And that is just never going to work in self-defense. So think about that with your guards. Where we hold our hands, where we have our hands placed, our stances, forms part of our guard. And we can defend ourselves in many different ways using these guards and these movements. And that's what Kung Fu does best. It teaches you how to move. Okay, see you in the next class.